right, so this is going to be a quick video on multiplying radicals. Multiplying radicals is fairly straightforward, so it really shouldn't take me very long to go over that with you. Step one is going to be, so you want to make sure you multiply the coefficients with the coefficients and the radicands with the radicands, and you always keep those things separate. You can never cross them, so you never want to multiply a coefficient into a radicand. And then from there, you just simplify the radicand if possible. That's it, 2 steps, it's fairly quick. So the first example that you see on the page is 3 radical 2 times 4 radical 5. The 3 and the 4, those are your coefficients, so they will be multiplied together. The 2 and the 5, those are your radicands. They will be multiplied together. 3 times 4 is 12, 2 times 5 is 10, so 12 radical 10. If radical 10 could be simplified more, then we would, but it can't, so 12 radical 10 is our final answer. So let's look at a couple examples. I probably won't go over every single one of these, but I'll go over a few of them. So the first one, 9 times 5 is 45. Radical 2 times radical 6, that's going to be radical 12. So we've done step 1. Step 2 is to see if it simplifies further. So radical 12, can that simplify further? Yes. So 45 stays out in front. My radical 12 is going to simplify down to 4 by 3. The square root of 4 is 2, so that's going to come out in front and be multiplied with that 45. But basically, radical 12 simplifies down to 2 radical 3, so that 2 radical 3 needs to be multiplied with that 45. And then again, it's the same principle, right? Only the coefficients get multiplied together, 45 times 2. So this will equal 90 radical 3. And that's it. This one over here, we're multiplying 3 things. Same group for multiplying 3 things. I'm going to multiply the 3 coefficients together. So 4 times negative 8 times 2. 4 times negative 8 times 2, that is negative 64. Okay, and then I have all of the numbers under the radicand that I multiply. So, or all of the radicands to multiply together. So 3 and 15 and 2. 3 and 15 is 45. 45 times 2 is 90. So we've done step 1, multiplied all the coefficients, multiplied the radicands. Now I want to see if it simplifies. So 90 definitely simplifies down. That is going to be 9 times 10. Square root of 9, that's 3. So negative 64 by 3 radical 10. Negative 64 by 3 is negative 192, and then radical 10 left over. Okay, so for these 2 examples, I won't go over them, but I'm just going to double check that you know. So 2 radical 3 could be written as 2 radical 3 times 2 radical 3. Or you could even say 2 radical 3 squared, where you apply the squared to both terms. Either way, for this question, you are essentially doing 2 by 2, which is 4. And then radical 3 times radical 3 is actually just 3. And I'm going to explain that a couple different ways. So radical 3 times radical 3 could obviously give radical 9, and radical 9 is also 3. If we go with the method where we just applied the squared, that would be radical 3 squared. And square rooting something and squaring it are opposites, so essentially they cancel one another out and leave you with a 3. So no matter which version of this makes the most sense to you, it should still make sense that no matter what, radical 3 times radical 3 is just 3. Whether you understand it as them canceling each other out and leaving you with the 3, or that it gives you radical 9, which is, of course, 3. Either way gives you an answer of 3. So this basically just works out to 4 times 3, which is 12. Over here, these are cubed roots. Still functions the same way. 3 times 2, that's 8. My numbers under the radical sign, the radicands, 4 times 2, Oh, sorry, I was thinking ahead. I have that on video now. 3 times 2 is 6. I was thinking ahead. 3 times 2 is 6. 4 times 2 is 8. And then the cube root of 8 is 2. So 6 times 2. I wasn't going to go over that example, so I was talking too quickly. Anyway, I could edit that out, but I'm not going to. All right, so down here, again, just all of our same rules for multiplying, right? So we have distributive law and FOIL, basically, that we also have to use, but then it's still the same rules for multiplying the radicals. So 2 radical 3 is going to be times by 3 radical 5, and then by 4 radical 7. 2 by 3 is 6. 3 by 5 is 15. And 2 by 4 is 8. And 3 by 7 is 21. Can radical 15 be simplified? No. Can radical 21 be simplified? No. And those are not like terms, so that would be your final answer. Here we have two things in brackets. So FOIL, so this first term will be multiplied by both terms in these brackets to start. So radical 3 times 3 radical 2. That is going to be 3 radical 6. And then radical 3 by negative 4 radical 3 is going to be negative 4 by 3, because radical 3 times radical 3 is just 3. Then we have 5 radical 2. That is going to be multiplied by both of those. So 5 radical 2 times 3 radical 2. 5 times 3 is 15. And radical 2 times radical 2 is just 2. 5 times negative 4, negative 20. Radical 2 times radical 3 is radical 6. Multiply these out. So 3 radical 6 can't be simplified. It's going to stay the same. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Positive 15 times 2 is positive 30. And then negative 20 radical 6 can't be simplified, so it will stay as is. Then we just want to combine like terms. So 3 radical 6 with negative 20 radical 6 is going to combine to give negative 17 radical 6. And negative 12 plus 30 combines to give 18. And that would be our final answer. Now for the next two examples, I am not going to go over those. I will say when you FOIL out number 7 here, there won't be anything to simplify, which I know throws people off a little bit. So once you FOIL everything out, the 4 answers that you get, that's it, that's all. And maybe what I'll do is I'll fill in the answer. I don't have it in front of me, so I'll just do it really quick. 4 radical 6 minus 2 radical 30 minus 6 plus 3 radical 5. And nothing simplifies and nothing can be combined, so that's your final answer. Now here, again, I'm going to actually stick to I am not going to show you this example, but I do want to show you something about this example. So again, squared just means it times itself, right? It does not mean applying the squared to each term. It's different than the example above because of this plus sign. It's not two things attached. They are two separate things, which means you want to write them out both brackets. Would be your best bet to make sure you don't make any errors. Okay, it means radical 6 plus 2 radical 8 times radical 6 plus 2 radical 8. Now, you have a couple options. You can simplify this radical 8 first before you multiply everything together. You could do that, that's fine. You will probably have to simplify regardless, so I would personally leave it and then just simplify at the end, but it's totally your call. Radical 8 can be reduced, so you could do that first, or you can just reduce everything at the end. But yeah, I'm not going to go over this one. We've already done some examples of FOIL, so you can try this one on your own, and the answer's online on Teams. Hope that makes sense.